Hey, everybody, welcome to a brand new MMA Roasted podcast. It's me, Adam Hunter, giving you 3 this week. That's how we do it. I was so impressed with this guy. I'm like, you know what? I got to get this guy on the podcast. You know, we don't do Wednesdays, but I'm like, listen, this guy right here is a stud. He's 13-1. Fights
14-1. 14-1.
14-1. Sorry, I already fucking understand.
It's all right, bro.
He fights for Bellator. He fought a guy last week they were making this guy as the hot prospect. They were like picking him. This guy was 5-0. What's the guy you beat again? What's his name?
Cass Bell.
Cass Bell. I don't even know his name anymore. That's how bad you beat him. No, the guy that Cass Bell is also a stud, but you made it look easy. You made it look easy, and you were up 2-0, maybe even 10-8 rounds, and you went for the finish. And you got the tap, which I was like, you know what? That's a guy who's not just there to win. He's there to make a point. How do you feel, man?
Man, I feel great, man. I feel amazing. It's good to be home. Good to be have it all done and have it end the way it ended.
Did that fight go exactly how you thought it was going to go?
No, I wanted to finish him in the first round, man. I thought I was going to be able to get him out of there in the first round.
You almost did. I
almost did with that guillotine. I almost took him out, but, I got to go back and work on my guillotine and get better at it, But, yeah, I wanted to finish him in the first round. That was when I first started that the manifestation thing, pretty much saying what I want. I envisioned finishing him in the first round, but,
Hold on.
Just kept plugging away.
What is this manifestation thing? What are you talking about?
So I what's it called? Not manifestations, but God dog it. When you say stuff and you just say it over and over to yourself.
Right.
God, okay. I had the word. Now I forgot.
Is that what you were screaming during the rounds?
Yeah, I've been saying that to myself probably thousands of times a day. During camp, during my fight preparation, during like my runs, my extra workouts and stuff, I just been saying it to myself. Pretty much, you're confident and fearless in all that you do. You dominate, exciting, and finish fights. I've been saying that over and over in my head.
Well, no, it was awesome. And the thing about it was that, I went back and watched a lot of your fights, and a lot of your fights, you're an awesome wrestler. You're a 2-time national champion. We'll get that. We'll get into that in a second. But it seems like you got a little bit striking heavy in some of your fights.
Yeah,
you want to prove that you could punch and kick. And maybe the fights were a little closer than you probably could have made them had you went
for sure.
Your wrestling. Where this one, you're just like, you actually use your wrestling a lot more in this one.
Yeah, yes, sir. And that was most of the times I'm doing that because I feel like because I want to show things that I've worked on and things that I've gotten better on. You know what I mean? But I'm at a point now where I just need to go out there and dominate in any fashion I feel like I can dominate. And I'm most dominant in the grappling.
Oh my, yeah. I mean, so because I went back and looked at some of your stuff. You started wrestling as a junior.
Yeah.
Late start.
Yeah, for sure.
Start.
A
then,
lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know I started real late for wrestling, junior in high school.
Well, I mean, what took you so long?
I didn't even know it was a sport, man. Where I grew up, we didn't know about wrestling like at all. And so then when my mom had moved us out of the neighborhood that I grew up. She had got a better job and moved us to kind of a better neighborhood. And then, at school, one of my coaches, or actually he was my teacher, my science teacher, he said he's a coach of a wrestling team and he'd give out a free quiz grade if we came out and just tried it out. And I came out and tried it out pretty much.
Wow. Well, that's why it's so important. Like, because I coach wrestling now, and the high school team has a guy. I coach a middle school team. I'm doing it for like 12 years. I started the high school program. And the problem is the coach doesn't go to the school. He comes in afterwards. And, And I'm like, you gotta have someone in the school.
Exactly. You gotta have some. Yeah, exactly. Because I was teaching at I've been teaching off and on at high schools around here. And if you don't have a teacher in the school, it's hard to like build your wrestling program. You know what I mean? That's how I feel like he was able to build his wrestling program. He got, people from the classroom to just try it out, and nobody's going to try to. It's weird looking. I feel like for outside and kids, you know what I'm saying, to get involved in the first place. So you got to have somebody with a connection with them for them to want to get involved.
Yeah, and then he sees this like probably super athletic, short black kid.
Yeah.
You know what?
Exactly. He's like, yeah,
good.
you might be, hey, you might not know this, but you might be really good at this sport. And it turned out I was like, I picked it up really fast, like super fast.
Yeah, no. And then, so you were 16. Your father wasn't around. Your mom. You grew up
Yeah. So my father was around, but he was in a different state. So he was living in Washington D.C. You know, so he would call and and things like that. You know, send. He was on child support, so he would always pay. You know, and stuff like that. So he wasn't like not around. He was just in a different state. So he wasn't as involved as he would have liked to have been. You know what I mean?
But your mom, you grew up in Section 8 housing, and
Yep. Mm-hmm.
and your mom actually saved up for her own house. So you guys got
Yeah. So my
house.
mom, my mom has an amazing story herself. Like she had me at like 17. I want to say it was like 17 or whatever. And so in the beginning of my life, like she was living with my great grandma because her mom had drug related problems and was not taking care of her the best or whatever. So she was like on her own very early, and so we were taken care of by my great grandma and my great aunt, and for like the first year or two of my life, I spent in that household. And then when my mom got on her feet and got her an apartment, it was in Section 8 housing, and so she pretty much had to strip me from my great grandma. My great grandma didn't want to give me up. I remember them arguing about it, like her like saying, "No, I'm taking my son. Like I can handle it," you know. And so she took us, and me and my little brother, because I think she had just had my younger brother is like 2 years younger than me. And so yeah, she took us to this Section 8 housing called Garden City in Houston, Texas. And so then yeah, from there, you know, she kept working. She kept working in the she was like a not a secretary, but she worked in a cubicle. I don't really know what exactly she did, but I mean, she worked her way up. She got like her associates, I feel like through the company she was working for, and just kept moving up through the company and end up moving. So also she got married when I was like maybe 11 to my stepfather, and so they moved out to like the north part of town, like a better part of Houston, and then they moved into a house in Tomball, Texas, which is even northerner, however you say it, further up north. And so yeah, so then they got a house, and then that's where I
So
started
she's
wrestling.
working all the time. Who's watching you?
You say what? Where she was working?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, I guess CPS can't call or it can't be called now, but you know, it was some times where we spent I spent time alone, you know, and she would also, I mean, she had friends and stuff, you know, we would spend time with family. We had family close, you know, so we would spend time there off and on, you know what I mean? But yeah, we probably shouldn't we were probably home a lot by ourselves, you know. I mean, if we weren't in school and stuff, you know, and it's never like a long time, probably like a couple hours, you know, before she got home from work type of thing.
Right. Wow.
But yeah.
Man. So then your mom passes away when you're 16 years old, which I'm sorry about that. That's horrible.
Yep.
And then now are you the man of the house?
So yeah, well, so when she passed away, yep, we didn't get along with my stepfather, and it was no fault of his. It was just what we thought, you know. He was a stepfather, you know what I mean, and we didn't like him because he was still in our mom type of thing. Right. You know, it was nothing against him. Like, I'm really cool with him now. He's a good man. But yeah, we didn't like him. So when my mom passed, you know, we went pretty much, our brothers, we were like split, but we weren't. Like, me and my youngest brother went to my mom's sister's house. And so then I was in my mom's sister's house with my younger brother, but I would have to commute because they wanted me to stay in the same school because I was doing the wrestling already, and I felt like I could go to college with it, and so I would like commute probably like an hour from my great aunt house that I stayed in when I was like really little. I would commute from her house to the school, and that's, I just have to drive there every day, so I can go to school and then do the wrestling program. And so then my middle brother was with someone from our church family, and so he would stay there during the weekends, and then he would stay there during the weekdays, and then the weekends we would all kind of meet up either at church or at my mom's sister's house. So we were like separated, but we would like come together kind of on the weekends and hang out. And
how'd your mom pass away?
She had actually pneumonia in both her lungs. Was the final. She was like in and out of the hospital with I feel like it was pneumonia, or that's what they told us. It was pneumonia in both her lungs. But if she had like health complications, feel like not all my life, but like the later part of my life. And she must have knew she was gonna pass because she would like have conversations with us with like, oh, if I died or whatever, like, would y'all guys still go to church and stuff like that, which we never thought nothing of it. She kind of brought it up pretty nonchalantly, like, and it wasn't nothing that crossed my mind. But now thinking back, like, oh man, she like maybe knew she was gonna pass.
Well, I mean, just the fact that like you were able, like you must have, you're a really strong person, because a lot of people would have taken some of the things you went through and went the other way.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, sir. And that I credit that to, my family. I credit that to how she raised me, and how she, I feel like prepared us. And I had a lot of good people around me too. A lot of people telling me like, stick it through. You'll be all right.
So then you end up going to junior college.
I ended up going to and what happened was, man, I was my grades were like, I was in like honors classes and things like that. But when my mom passed, I just like that's what slipped. My grades like slipped dramatically. And I was like only focused on the wrestling. Like I was like, okay, the wrestling is what's gonna get me to college or whatever. And it got to the point where like I had made it to state my junior year, but my grades had came back on my report card where
one of those kids?
I couldn't. I couldn't go. So my junior year, I made it to state, but I couldn't even go to state because my grades weren't good.
Nothing as a coach. Worse than that.
Yeah. So that next year, I had to drop from all my honors classes, and I had to. But I got my grades, to do better or whatever. But every D1 school that that they would. Because they would contact me like in the summer, because I did like Fargo and stuff like that, and everyone, they would be like, oh yeah, we're interested, and then they find out what my grades look like, and then like, no, we can't really can't really do anything for you scholarship wise. And so I went to the junior college, and I walked on to the junior college, and that was like really good for me because it taught me to kind of be independent in a place where there wasn't a lot of other things to do besides wrestling. So it wasn't a lot for me to get in trouble with, and I could focus on my schoolwork and focus on my wrestling, And
it shows a lot about you, because I wrestled in college, and I lasted like a semester because I got distracted with the girls and the drugs.
Yeah, see,
I
feel like because I wrestled, man, at junior college was crazy too, because I was coming from Houston, and then I was going to this town that had like 3 street lights, in the whole town, so it was like all there was to do was to wrestle there, you know what I mean? So and my coach Joe Renfro was amazing. He's an amazing junior college coach. He had multiple national champions. He was like always in the top 3, but he would have us in study hall, and he was so disciplined and such a hard ass that nobody like really questioned anything. Like if he said to do something, like, a lot of the people in junior college were at-risk teens or, at-risk youth, like people that are, like really good at wrestling, but didn't like to listen to anybody or having problems with school. But he was like, he was such an what do you call it, like a hard nose, like we respected him so much that we would do whatever it is he wanted us to do.
A good coach. And then you
Yeah.
become an All-American in junior college. Then you
Yep. So I All-American my first year. My second year, I did an All-American. I tore my meniscus and some other. Yeah, I just tore my meniscus. I had a bad year that second year, but I was able to get a scholarship at a 4-year college.
See, you go to Nebraska Kearney, which isn't that where Usman went?
Yep, that's what Kamaru Usman. Yeah, that's what he wrestled. He actually wrestled the year before. So he was there the year before I was there, and he was like roommates with one of my best friends, Josh Smith, and it's funny because like as I was moving my stuff in, you know, he was there kind of figuring out what he was gonna do the next year or where he's gonna move, and he was like, hey man, like you all right? Like everything all right? And I was like, yeah, I'm all right. Cause he was also my Team Texas. He was one of my coaches for Team Texas, so I knew him already, you know.
Okay.
And he was like, hey, you doing all right or whatever? And I was like, yeah, I'm doing all right. He was like, hey, I just want to let you know, man, you know, the season is it's a long season, you know, so you be ready for. I was like, I'm ready for a season. I wrestled a college season. I'm ready. He's like, all right, listen, I'm just trying to let you know to be ready. My mom told me to make sure you all right. So, you know
that's nice.
I'm just saying, I'm just making sure you all right. You good? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good, bro. I'm good. He's like,
that's real nice. And you win the national twice.
Yep, I won nationals twice there. Yep, yes, sir.
Now, in the back of because D2 is great. I wrestled D3 at Binghamton, but there was always the back of my head of like, how would I have done D1? Did you ever have
exactly?
Did you ever
exactly have for sure, man. So every time, so I wrestled a lot of the D1, you know, tournaments, or I mean, every tournament that you wrestle, like anybody can show up. But yeah, I definitely, you know, that was definitely like a man. I wish I could have seen how I did against a lot of the. I actually wrestled who was it? Montel Marion, but it was like a couple years after for like a grappling, like a it was like they was putting on wrestling events, kind of like it was a MMA event for Victory Fighting Championships. But yeah, so I wrestled him, and I lost to him by a point or something. I was out of shape.
That's all right.
But yeah, I always did wonder.
So you're a D2 national champion, and then Jens Pulver and Pat Miletich hire you to be the wrestling coach over at their gym.
Yeah, so it was Jens Pulver. He was starting a gym in Kearney, Nebraska. So where I wrestled. So I had finished wrestling, and at this point I was like a student teaching or a student I forget what the grad assistant or whatever. I was working on my graduate degree, and I was helping coaching during that time to help pay for it. And so then they had asked me to come and help with their gym, to come help with the wrestling at their gym. And so I met Jens Pulver through Josh Smith again, because Josh Smith was also wrestling, or he was also fighting at that time. Josh Smith and TJ Hepburn. And so then I went over to help with wrestling, like some of the wrestling classes. And then Jens got me to do some jiu-jitsu classes, and he got me to do some boxing classes or whatever. And then he was like, man, you already know, you know, a lot of stuff. You might as well go ahead and hop in a fight or whatever. And I was like, well, all right, let's
you just said, all right. You're not even like, because I know.
I had been training. I've been training though, like I was training those guys, and then I was hopping into classes. So I was training probably about maybe 3-4 months. No, like 3 months. I was training like 3 months, and he was like, yeah, let's try to find you a fight or whatever, because he was still fighting at the time, and I was helping him train. And yeah, we were all helping him train, me, Josh, and TJ. And then we were, you know, training the guys at the gym. And so then, yeah, he was like, hop in the fight or whatever. But it took me a while. It took me like 3 to 4 months to like find opponents, you know, because of the wrestling. I feel like it was hard to find a opponent. And so then what happened? I think we got a fight while I was in Kearney still. And then the gym was it was closing down because he was like moving. He was doing a Winter Warrior. He was doing Winter Warrior in Australia. So he was gonna have to move to Australia soon or whatever. So he they closed the gym down, and I actually moved. Me and Gents drove to Iowa to move to Pat Middleton's gym.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we drove there to Iowa. It's a funny story too, because we like ran out of his car, didn't have the gas meter on it or whatever. So we ran out of gas like on the way from Nebraska to Iowa, and we had to like ask this lady who was on the way to, man, I wish I knew this lady or could find this lady now, but this lady was like on her way to pick up her kids from daycare, and I had knocked on her door and said, if you got a gas can or something, like we ran out of gas, if we can find her gas can. So I like rolled in the backseat with her kids and stuff, and we got a gas can, and came back to Tent and filled it up, whatever, and then made it to Iowa. And so then that's how I ended up in Iowa training with those guys.
Well, hold on. I want to hear the rest of the story because you have a whole career. But first, I got to tell you something about something really important, okay? And that is the final 22 teams have made their way down to Orlando and are ready to get back on the court. And with the ending of this year's basketball season will be different I know it's going to be different than the last year, but that's okay. No shortage of action in DraftKings, the leader in one-day fantasy sports. To celebrate the return of basketball, DraftKings will have not one, but two $1 million top prizes through the first 2 days of the resumed season. So get in all the action now. If you haven't tried it yet, fantasy basketball, very easy to play. Just pick 8 players, set underneath the salary cap, and pile up points for 3-pointers, rebounds, assists, and more. No better way to put your basketball knowledge to the test. Compete for $1 million. Okay, I know you could use $1 million. So can I.
Oh, for
now,
sure.
You got a son and a wife and the whole thing. Now, with millions of bucks up for grabs this week, no better place to have skin in the game than with DraftKings. So call to action. Download the DraftKings app now. Use promo code ROASTED to get a free shot of millions of dollars up for grabs this week with your first deposit. That's promo code ROASTED to get a free shot at millions of dollars with your first deposit only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions will apply. See DraftKings.com for detail. All right, so your first fight coming in, right? How nervous are you?
You know, I wasn't nervous. I was excited because I felt like, you know, at that point before I had a fight, I felt like I was ready to fight, you know. So I was like almost too I didn't know what to be nervous about, so I wasn't nervous. You know what I mean? I had no I was like I had no fear because I wasn't smart enough or I wasn't experienced enough to know what it was.
I had to say you're in stand-up comedy. I've done comedy 21 years, and like the first couple times, I'm like, this is fun. I was scared of bombing. I'm like, I didn't even think about bombing. Like
exactly.
But were you planning on using your wrestling, or were you like, you know what, I'm gonna box?
No. So my first couple fights, I wanted to just use the boxing. I had boxing, and I wanted to use just my boxing. That's how I wanted to finish the fight. But I ended up using it. I ended up using wrestling. I think I ended up I had him in like a anaconda standing, and he was like 6'1", and I like picked him up by his head or whatever and had him in an anaconda, and his feet were dangling, and then he like went limp, and then I set him down. And then I thought I was like the greatest ever.
Well, so many of your fights, you knock the guy down, and then you do some kind of weird airplane thing. Like, what is that?
Oh, yeah. That was like my second or third fight. Yeah, because I was –
that? Celebrate. What is
that?
What is?
Yeah, I was – that's what I thought was my gimmick, the Superman. I was Superman, so I was flying around.
Oh, you were okay.
Yeah. Like I was Superman.
I didn't know what was going on. I just know you knock the guy out, and then you start flying, and I'm like,
yeah, like I was Superman.
But I feel like you practiced more of the Superman than the fighting. It seemed like you were more excited about
that fight. I did. I was thinking about. I think I had got shirts made or something super, and I thought, like, oh man, everybody gonna think I'm Superman.
It seemed like
go
you
out and I'm gonna do a backflip.
Fight. You seemed like you were into the celebration more than.
Oh yeah, I definitely was. I practiced this. I definitely practiced. I practiced my celebration more than I probably practiced what I was gonna do in the fight for sure.
So many times, and then like I mean, there were some fights you head kicked people. They went stiff.
Yeah.
I mean, you were knocking people out left and right. And then, like, your seventh fight, you fight Jeff Curran, who must have had You must have had
that
like
was
50 fights on him or something.
yeah. I fought him. I think I was like 6-0, 7. Yeah, 7-0. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I had fought Jeff Curran, which was he had a lot of fights and a lot of experience.
and then you
But
fight
most
Rob
of my
Emerson after
fights,
that. And then Emerson, I'm like, damn, who's your manager? Like he's throwing you in with like
yeah,
veteran.
and that's my. I mean, I asked for those. I asked for those fights because, first of all, I mean, I feel like the way I train I train to be elite, and I want to fight the elite. Also, like I don't agree with the business model of not being thrown into the fire. I feel like some people, they feel like in the beginning they want to protect their record and they want to protect how they look or look a certain way. Like they want to beat people to look
Yeah.
good or whatever. But I like actually want to be good. I want to be known as, I want to be a killer. You know what I mean? So I gotta fight killers and I gotta be in there with killers. So that's kind of how, like, I've always trying to take fights. First of all, it's hard for me to get me or like people on my level. Nobody really wants to risk their record or risk looking like they're not good. I feel like I had a problem with that in the beginning where I was like, no, like my first fight, the dude fell out or whatever. So I fought a dude that was kind of a last minute replacement. But then my second or third fight, I fought a guy that was like 9-1 or 9-2. When it was actually my third fight, I believe, because it was like my second fight at Rufus Sport. And they gave me a guy that was like 9-2, and I was like, yeah, for sure. You know what I mean? I want to fight. I want to fight the guys that are like supposedly good. That's what I want.
Well, you have. I mean, even the guys in the LFA you fought. Some of these guys, one guy you beat has a victory over Marlon Moraes.
That guy. What's his name? Rafa Costa. Yeah, he's got a guy. Yeah, over a UFC title challenger. You know what I mean? So, that was even a fight. That was a fight that happened last minute too. Which, to be honest, like my coaches didn't want me to take that fight. You know what I mean? They didn't want me to take that fight because they were like, this guy poses like he poses a threat and he's not really worth, us like fighting or whatever. But in my mind, I'm like if he poses the threat, like that's the person I want. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it was a time too where my original opponent had backed out or got hurt, and so this guy had stepped up, and a couple other guys were maybe gonna step up, but this guy said yeah. So I was like, yeah, man, I don't want to end up not fighting nobody. You know what I mean? And that was a time too where my finances was like, hey, I need to fight.
No, I looked at like because I know that Rob Emerson before your fight said this guy hasn't fought. That he said that your record was handpicked.
He said my record was padded and I wasn't ready to fight his caliber of fighter.
Which at that point, he might have had a point. Not about padded, but like they did. Rob Emerson's a really good fighter, and at that point, was fighting UFC guys.
And he was like the double champ at the time, and he had beat the guy at 45, knocked him out, and he had won the belt at 35 or whatever. So I was like really excited to fight him, And I remember him saying that. I remember him saying like, "Oh, this guy's fighting nobody. He thinks he's ready for me." Or whatever, but I was like, okay, then what? And then after I beat you, you know what I'm saying? What you gonna say then? Yeah. Like, are you somebody to beat? Because if not, go tell me who I need to beat for me to beat. What's the name? I don't feel like Rob Emerson liked me a lot.
Well, he happens to be a real nice guy. I think he was just trying to get in your head. To be honest.
Yeah, for sure. No, after he was like, I mean, he was coolish. I mean, I only exchanged a little bit with him or inside the ring, after a fight, so. He probably cool. I just say never talk to him.
The one hiccup in your fight was against that guy Rob. Now fight, I watched that fight because I was like, because I remember when I was talking about your Cass Bell fight, I'm like, I looked at your record and I'm like, this guy's 13-1. He lost in 15 seconds. I'm like, that's one of those things where it was a spinning back fist. And I was talking to Ellenberger about that, me and Jake, and I'm like, you know what?
Oh yeah.
I'd rather, in some ways, lose by a fluke spinning back fist that you didn't see coming in 15 seconds than get dominated and all your flaws get exposed. You know?
And I look at it a different way or whatever, because I mean, I look at it like yeah, I lost in 15 seconds, but I feel like, man, I didn't get a chance to like fight. I didn't get a chance to like show nothing, you know. But you know, so I'd rather be, if somebody's like beating me, I'd rather it be somebody that like dominated me. So I'd be like, okay, well, I exhausted every resource. I just can't beat this, or I didn't show up, you know. But that was, I feel like for me, it was like a super, it was what I needed. I needed a learning experience of, because to be honest, like when my mindset going into fights before that fight was like, was kind of like my mindset in wrestling. In wrestling, I would, even my Joe Renfro, he told me, he was like, okay, the first 30 seconds or so, like you're just gonna fill him out, you know, the wrestler, you know what I'm saying, you fill him out, you give him some head snaps, you see where he's at or whatever, and then, you know, you slowly start turning up the heat on him till he can't, you know, take it anymore. Where in fighting, and especially like, I feel like fighting me from the jump, people are scared, people are like, you know, like on high alert, you know, so, and I feel like that strike was, I don't want to say it was a fluke. I want to say it was like him reacting out of like fear, and his adrenaline was like pumping. You know what I mean? So he like did that quick, like a quick, I feel like defensive move or whatever, you know. But it landed. I mean, it wasn't like he didn't do it to land. So I don't want to call it a fluke.
Anybody here is watching. He throws a head kick. You block the head kick. After the head kick, he comes with a spinning back fist, which I've never seen. I've watched thousands and thousands of fights before, and I still was like, whoa, like that's, I have never seen that before.
Exactly. And I'm thinking in my head, and that's my fault, because I'm thinking in my head, okay, my technique would tell me I blocked the head kick, I returned with a 1-2. You know what I mean? That was just in my head. So I blocked the head kick, and I'm not even thinking to react what he's doing. I'm thinking of, I'm just like, okay, I react with a 1-2, but I didn't have my two-hand high. I forget. Yeah, I think he came that way, or I spent him. No, he came that way, and I wasn't thinking he was gonna be on offense or anything like that, and you know, I got caught, and it was because I wasn't ready. Well,
I've never seen that before, and I was like watching it. I'm like, okay, that, because it said spinning back fist on Sherdog, and I'm like, okay, maybe he just came. I'm like, whoa, head kick to
head kick to, and it was a beautiful move, man. I can't knock it. You know what I'm saying? It was beautiful. He got me. You know what I'm saying? But that's definitely one fight. You know, if I had to fight again, you know, I think I dominate. I think I do a lot better. But you know, that's why we do the fights, man.
And that guy's fighting John Dodson in a couple weeks.
Yeah, and he's doing amazing. You know, he's doing amazing in the UFC. So I'd rather be, you know, I'm so happy that he's doing good, you know, because that makes me look a little bit better. You know what I mean?
You know what? Here's the thing. You know, it's like, a champion is not about when things are going well. It's how they respond when things aren't going well. So that was a lot of pressure on you. It was on Dana White's looking for a fight. So now you got Dana White coming to see you. Who knows what you're thinking? My big break.
I was thinking past that point. I was thinking like, okay, he's gonna be tough. I'm gonna win this fight, and then I'm gonna go on to the UFC, and then start my reign in the UFC. That's what I thought.
Of course. And then 15 seconds later, you're like, what? That didn't go.
What the?
You know, a lot of people, like, you know, depression, self-doubt, they would quit. I had my shot. Oh my God. You went out and won 7 more fights in a row, and are now in Bellator. So it shows you how strong of a person you are.
And even after that fight happened, like I knew in my mind I wanted to like get back on the horse right away. You know, granted the team, you know, they were smart. My management and my coaches and things were smart. Like, hey, let's wait it out. But also, I actually no offense to my manager at the time, I had to get rid of my manager at the time because I felt like he was then like, okay, look, we need to. You've had a knockout. We need to take it slow now. We need to pick our opponents, now. Where in my mind, I'm like, no, that's the opposite of what I want. We're not like on the same page. I'm not. I don't. That's not gonna deter my confidence just because I made a mistake in 15 seconds. Like I don't want to like build my career off of picking the fights. So I wanted to fight right away, and I wanted to fight somebody tough right away. You know what I mean?
Well, you got 3 wins in the VFC, and then you went to the LFC. You got 3 wins, and now you got 2 wins in Bellator. Now, what does Duke Rufus say to you after that fight, though? What does he say? Like
after the fight I just had?
Yeah.
Oh, he just messaged me the other day. He was like super proud and super, you know what I'm saying? He's happy and he's, this is fun, for us, because we put in a lot of work together and I'm starting to really like believe in myself and I feel like he sees that and he's just super happy with me right now.
That's great, man. What does he say after the knockout, the 15-second knockout? Was he like, hey man, that was a lucky punch?
No, so he said, I believe Duke Rufus is one of those people that he'll tell you what you need to hear. You know what I mean? So I remember that it was like times where I'm like hitting the bag and I'm not giving it my all, or I'm not, I'm like going through the motions, and then he'll say stuff like that's how you got knocked out. Hey, that's how you know what I mean? But it like hurts. It hurts you in your heart, but it's things like you need, like it's stuff that's gotta trigger you. You know what I mean? It's gotta trigger you for you to make a change. You know what I mean? And like being knocked out is a really big trigger. So, I mean, some people, they feel like they don't like click with Duke because he's mean or he's, he's tough on you or whatever. But like I'm like I appreciate, I know that if you're not telling me stuff like that, you don't really care. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Like you only gonna tell me stuff like that when it'd be different if you were like telling me stuff like that all the time. You know what I mean? Or you're only shitting on me. Type of thing. Yeah. But yeah, so I take it as like if you take your time out of your day to tell me some stuff, that's catered to me, like you care, you know what I mean? So
he also knows you can take it. He knows how tough you are. He knows that, that he says this to you.
I've been through some stuff like this ain't the worst thing I've been through. You know what I mean? So he's just trying to put some fire into my butt. You know what I mean? Trying to get me to be where I want to be.
So do you take over?
That's the only thing I can like remember from that. What's the name? The only thing, the other thing they said was like my coach Scott Cushman and Duke. They said that I was they took credit for me being, I was thinking too much, or I knew too many techniques or something at that time. Like I was, because I was trying to that's what it was. I checked the kick and I spent his leg around instead of like checking the kick and then going to 1-2. I checked it and because I was doing it a lot in this fight with Rob Emerson. I checked it and then I kind of like off center him. So I'm like pulling his leg this way, and then he took that momentum and came around.
Right. So
that way, which is it could happen.
It happened, and it was not going to happen again ever.
No.
Now you've been calling out James Gallagher.
Yeah.
I see you posting screenshots. Now he doesn't want to fight you? Is that what's going on?
No, he don't want to fight me at all, bro. He said no, and I'm not into. I don't need James Gallagher to fight me for me to make the title. I don't need him to fight me. I mean, I'm ranked above him in the world. I don't need to fight James Gallagher. I just thought it'd be a fun fight to have if he wanted to fight. Oop.
No. Yeah. He doesn't want any part of you. I mean,
he didn't want. No, he don't want. He like legitimately, and I haven't seen this before. I've had people like deny fights with me, but I've never seen somebody like come up outright to me and say, "Hey, bro, I don't want to fight you at all. Nope, not gonna fight you. I'll fight your teammate, but nah, I ain't gonna fight you."
Yeah, what teammate? So about Sergio?
He wants to fight. I think he wants to fight Sergio Pettis, but it's like Sergio Pettis beat somebody that like smacked you. Like Sergio Pettis dominated Ricky Bandejas, who like, you know, wiped the floor with you. Like, you're not in that mix of you're just not in that mix of, you know, competition, you know. Right. So it's like, or like, you got to get some wins, you know. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if you want to get to that fight, you should probably fight me. But he sees it a different way. He feels like I don't know what he feels like. I think what he wants to do is stay in Ireland and fight kind of.
Of course, be a big fish in a small pond.
Yep, exactly. You know, and fight kind of people that he feels like he can win against. So, and now, that's, you know, and that again, that's like, I don't want to, you know, pressure him into a fight if he don't want to fight. I'm not a bully. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to bully nobody. If you don't want to fight, then don't. You know, I'm looking to get to the title. So you're not gonna help me get to the title, really. You know what I mean? So.
Who do you think the fight between Caldwell and AJ McGee?
You say Caldwell and AJ McGee? Oh man, I don't know. I feel like Caldwell will have the advantage on the ground, and AJ will have the advantage on the feet. But you know, I feel like AJ is like really good. I don't really click with him because he got a beef with my homie Emmanuel Sanchez, so I don't really mess with him. You know what I mean? But I feel like AJ gonna probably win.
It's like I haven't seen any holes in his game so far.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, he's like good. He impressed me with that fight against Derek Campos. I didn't you know, before that I was kind of like, okay, you a lot of hype, but you know, he impressed me with that fight.
So August 6th in Bellator, we got Chandler versus Ben Henderson. Who do we like?
I like Chandler, man. I feel like Chandler's something in his water. You know, he just don't stop.
Yeah. Tim Johnson versus Mitrione. I hope Tim wins.
I hope Tim wins too. He's on my management, or he's on part of the same management team. I hope he wins. Matt Mitrione. I don't know, but Matt Mitrione. I'll take Tim.
I feel like whoever lands first is going to win that fight. Georgie Karakhanyan versus Miles Jury.
Man, I got Georgie.
I hope, Georgie. Yeah. It seems like a lot of the ex-UFC guys are coming over and not doing as well, aside from Theo.
I think what happens is they come over and think that they just, you know, are levels above, and you know, every organization's got, you know, killers, especially nowadays. So
that's
you know, they got to be ready to fight.
Derek Campos versus Adam Borick.
Oof, man, Derek Campos, man, I got freaking that Borick is dangerous, man. I got Borick. He's a dangerous cat.
AJ Agazarm is taking on Chris Lencioni.
Man. I'll go with Alcazar.
Yeah, he's good, but the other kid's good. That's a good fight. They're both kind of.
That Chris guy is like really good on the ground though.
They're both maniacs. Now Roy Jones Jr. versus Mike Tyson.
Oh man, I got Mike Tyson, man. I got Mike Tyson.
You got Mike?
So the only reason I say this is because I seen that freaking video of him hitting pads at the age he's at, and he looked like a monster, man.
I don't know what Mexican steroids this guy's on.
He's taking some stuff. He's taking that Tiger steroids. He looked like a monster. I seen Roy Jones, and Roy Jones looked smooth, but Tyson looked like a monster.
I don't get it, because he looked like Oprah a couple years ago. Now,
yeah. Like he was all like brittle and freaking skinny and freaking. Now he's like, man,
crazy.
What happened?
All right, so it came out today that Paige Van Zandt might do bare knuckle boxing.
Is that real? I seen that. Is that real?
Is this? I think this is a bad idea. Her face.
Oh, please don't do that.
Like, what is she doing?
Please don't do that. I hope that's fake. I really hope that's fake. I hope her husband would not let her do some stuff like that.
I mean, what does she have to
do? Don't she make a lot of money on Instagram because of her looks?
Right? Yeah, right.
Like bare knuckle, you are like almost guaranteed to get cut. Like you're like there's a 90% chance you're gonna end that fight with a cut on your face.
Yeah. Also, it got announced yesterday that in Tora MMA, Bigfoot Silva is fighting again. He's 1-8 in his last 9 fights. He's been knocked out 8 times in a row. He's in the same card as Paul Harris. Is this a good idea?
Is this is a fight or not a grappling?
It's called Tora MMA. It's a new promotion in Florida. They signed Bigfoot Silva and also Paul Harris, who like never lets go of the people's. You know, he's the guy. That's,
yeah,
he's like that girl that blows you, that bites you after.
I mean, it's probably a good idea for Toro to have him because he's a big name, but I feel like he should be done if he's been knocked 1-8. You know,
that's 1-8 in his last 9 fights. And that's only and bare knuckle. He's 0-1. So
he's fighting bare knuckle too.
Yeah, he lost in bare knuckle. He lost to Gonzaga. So this is
man. Who he fighting? You know?
I don't know. Hopefully, fucking Alzheimer's. But well, listen, Raufeon Stots, it was an honor to have you on the show. Thank you so much. When's your next fight? Anybody have any date or?
No, not yet. I know they got fights in August 7th, and I heard they may have one August 18th. I'm trying to stay in their ear, try to stay in the loop. But hopefully I can get one by the end of the year. Depending on COVID and Bellator
and where can people find you on Instagram or Twitter?
So you can find me Raufeon Stots, RAUFEON STOTS on Instagram and Twitter.
Well, thank you so much, man. Have a great rest of the week.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Anytime, man. Thank you.